Hello everybody and welcome to Nerdstead, the homestead that guarantees to do things differently. Today we have a big video. We are getting ready for goat kidding season, which means we have to clean up the barn, build some pens for the new moms, and get some outside shelter set up for the boys that are now going to be stuck outside, as well as a handful of other little projects that I know are going to come up along the way. So this is going to be a pretty big video with lots of little projects, and with so much stuff to do, let's dive right in. I got Sawdust coming tomorrow because it's either they come tomorrow or they come about 3 days before the babies are due, and that doesn't give me any time. And it's already 4 o'clock in the afternoon before the bedding comes in tomorrow. So, okay, seems like both these are dead in the water. I don't have a whole lot of time to mess with actually getting these up and running. That's a future project, so I guess the next step is to clean up the area where I'm gonna try and put them, and I'll just have to drag them over there with the tractor or push them. So we're off to manual operations now. This is the area that I want to put them. When horse runs through fences, people drop off stuff for your kid, tires constantly go flat, try and build grain things. When you have 7 projects that all come up in a matter of a couple days, your barn starts to look like this. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's life. Every once in a while, I just take a day to fully reset, and today's that day, so the goal is I gotta clean all this stuff out so I can move those pieces of equipment over here so I have room to build the pens. So no time like the present, so just gonna get started. Ta-da! Okay, a bit of an update here. So, a few things happened off camera. My camera died. We were in a rush to just get a bunch of stuff done. And actually a day or two has passed now, but it is now 20 degrees outside. Actually, I think it said it was 16 this morning. It's cold. But we did get these pens built. So if you saw my last video, I built a roadside firewood stand, and I got an abundance of skids, and when I came to building the pens, kind of used what I had. So I just used some skids here. I have this is just chained up here as a gate. So then I kind of got some corner bracing. I got some skids down here, and I got skids as a divider with the 2x4 to kind of hold that in place. But this gives us 2 separate pens here for all of our Nigerian dwarfs. We got all of our goats separated now. except for one more pen, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. Today I'm actually pretty happy because I get to do something I've never done before. Well, I've done before, but I haven't done on the farm before, and that is rent a dingo. So this pen right here is quite bad. It's actually about 1.5 feet higher on that side than it is that side. And this is all like concrete because it's cold outside, it's frozen. The goats compact it down as they are in it. And we just don't have time to clean it out regularly. We just add bedding to it throughout the year and it just layers up. And then it comes time to clean it out. I've been able to use bobcats and stuff before, but today I'm getting a dingo. So a dingo is a little walk behind like loader thing. So I'm gonna go rent that this morning, hopefully for only 4 hours and save as much money as possible. But to do this by hand would take me all day. It is literally concrete. It actually just bends the tines of a pitchfork when you try and lift it up. I can't get my tractor in here. It's too tight of a squeeze between the walls to get a turning radius in. So that dingo is actually a tracked mini skid steer that it can turn on a dime, but it's only like, I want to say 6 foot long and like 42 inches wide. So it fit great in the door. I can get in here, I can break everything up, I could push it out to the middle, and once it's in the middle, I can move it into the front bucket with the tractor. So the goal is to move all this out, so I'm using the best time I can with the dingo that I have, clean this out, get the remainder of the sawdust, finish this pen for the goats for baby season. So yeah, so let's get started. Clean out pens from now on. This little guy's a beast. In about 10 or 15 minutes, I cleaned out that entire pen. And I know it doesn't look like much, but check this out. This pile is probably 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 3 or 4 feet tall. And it was concrete, and that's no exaggeration. It is 20 degrees out here. This was concrete. And this thing didn't stall, didn't hang up, didn't hiccup at all. It just powered through. It is a beast. I still have some of the corners to clean up, but I've always had to do that. But I'm fairly happy with this. I'll grab the rake, pull all this to the center, and I'm all the way down to the dirt floor here. So all I gotta do is add my sawdust back in, and this is good to go. I have to go back and look at the footage, but I swear it was 10 or 15 minutes and I was done with this pen. This is the way to clean out pens. And I think it was like $110 for 4 hours, $140 for the day. I will be doing this forever because I could clean out probably all my pens in a day because you get it for 24 hours. So if I plan it right, I could pick it up first thing in the morning and work. And when I had my bobcat last time, I was out here at 1 o'clock in the morning still cleaning stalls because bobcat's big. Like, you gotta take your time a lot more. This, you can see all the corners and everything. I am thoroughly impressed and thoroughly happy with this choice. Fresh new sawdust. Got a nice thick layer. The dingo is able to fit in here and dump it all around. I love this machine. This thing is, I want to buy one. If I had money to blow, I would own one. It's only 11 o'clock, which means from the time I picked it up at the place till right now has been 2 hours, which means I'm definitely going to get it back in the half day, which is $110 for the half day. I don't know about your area, but for me, I got it for $110. The place isn't that far away. I'm gonna fill it up with gas so I get a good total number of what it costs for me to do this. But this was only 1 pin, and the pin itself probably only took me 30 to 45 minutes. I had a big hay bale stuck in one of my pastures that I can't fit my tractor into. To get out, I put the wrong bale in the wrong spot, long story. But this thing saved me because I was able to scoot it up next to the fence and lift it up enough for the tractor to get up and pick it up over the fence. $5.85. 1.482 gallons. Not bad. Not bad at all. Another part about getting the baby pins ready is making sure that every pin has a grain bucket, a heated water bucket, and a heat lamp. Especially when they have babies, that heat lamp keeps the babies warm because they're gonna come out all wet and gooey. And you wanna make sure that them and the mom can stay warm in case for some reason we can't get out here. Now, to do that, you obviously need a bunch of extension cords. The barn is wired with plenty of power, but one of the reasons why this channel is called Nerdstead is because I nerd out on other stuff. So what I have here is a smart plug. They make them in all different kinds of shapes, sizes, colors, manufacturers, so on and so forth. But this one specifically is a Gosund one. Pretty much anyone that works with the Smart Life app will do what you want to do. The reason why I love these specifically is because these can be controlled by temperature. Now I know that they make thermal cubes that automatically kick on under a certain temperature, and those work great. And I don't know how they are as far as a cost comparison goes to these, but I know these aren't pricey at all. I was getting 4-packs. I don't really know. I'll put up somewhere on the screen here exactly how much I was paying for a 4-pack, but you can program these by temperature. So once the ambient temperature gets below a certain degrees, it will kick on. So my heat lamps and my water buckets won't kick on until it gets cold out. Meaning if it's warm, I'm not gonna have a chance of frying a heating element if a water bucket runs dry for a specific period of time. When it's warmer out and I let them out and just forget about it sometime. So it allows me to control. Also, I get a notification on my phone. So I will be kind of notified that things are working or are not working. So a part of the Nerdstead family is doing things with tech, and this is my first piece of tech that I'm really gonna talk about, is these smart plugs. They are not expensive. You can get a bunch of them, and they have lots of uses around a barn. So I might dive in and do a little tutorial on how to do these. Check that out on the channel. But for now, let's get to wiring. I am going to do a tutorial on those smart plugs. I'm not going to put it in this video, but if you want to, check the description and I'll have a video on how I set those up and how I program those. Time to run power for winter. If you're in a colder climate, you're gonna have water buckets and you're gonna have heat lamps, and every pin's gonna need one of each. There's a lot of routing that you gotta do depending on how many pins you have. A few things that I suggest just to go out and buy a bunch of is a splitter. You probably have extension cords already. These splitters aren't that expensive. They come in all different kinds of shapes and sizes. They have ones that split off into like a cross. There's ones that I call cube taps, which put all 3 plugs on a little tiny cube. There's these kind, but it doesn't matter really which kind you get, but just make sure you grab a bunch of those. If you are getting extension cords, I highly recommend getting the kinds that have 3 taps on the end of them, because essentially you're gonna be coming from power, going somewhere, plugging in a heat lamp or a bucket, and then a few feet later you're gonna need to plug in again a heat lamp or a bucket. So having something like this allows you to plug in, tap in another extension cord, run it the last 5 or 6 feet, and get to where you need to go all in one pin. Something that everybody should have is zip ties, and buy them by the 100, buy them by the 1,000. I use them almost daily. Hold things in places. Goats escape and you gotta just put up some fencing just to hold the babies in. You'll go through, I've gone through at least 1,000 already, just probably in the past year and a half. So you will use them. So if you find a good deal, just constantly stock up on them. Next is gonna be getting water to the pens. Obviously in winter, your buckets are gonna freeze, so you gotta plug those in, but it's not really like you can plug in a garden hose. Down the road, I do wanna get some stuff called heat tape and actually build a hose that I can plug in that will prevent it from freezing, but that's down the road. I don't have the money for that right now. But what I am gonna do right now is the old farmer's trick is like unhook your hose and coil it up. And as you coil it up, lift it up and over your head, and that'll cause the water to drain out so you have no water in your hose, so there's nothing to freeze so you can use it the next time. I have a different method. This is a good thing, is around winter time, all of the hose reels at your hardware stores go on sale or clearance because no one's gonna be buying a garden hose reel in the middle of winter. But it's really nice. I actually stocked up on 3 or 4 of them that were around $200 a piece, and I think they were marked down all the way to 40 bucks. So I literally filled the cart with as many as I could get. And I have one here in the barn now. So what I do is I take the garden hose and toss it up and over a 2x4 stringer that ties between the rafters. I run my hose off the hose reel up and over that, so as I'm reeling it back up, it drains itself, and then as soon as I'm done, I can use it again. So it's just an extra step, but it's way easier than coiling it up every time, and I've never had an issue with it, just that little extra steps. These are those little like garden hose valves. But put it at the end of your hose where you're actually going to be handling it. That allows you to go from bucket to bucket to bucket and just turn your water off there rather than have to kink the hose or whatever. Another thing that I got was I got a hose hookup, and I got this because it was braided, it was stainless, it was heavy duty, and as you can see, when you try and reach a garden hose out, you can't get any reach with it. But if I need to reach through a fence and hit a bucket, this now gives me some strength to where I can reach in that 3 feet or whatever, hit this valve on the back side of it, and fill up that bucket. So a few extra tools that I highly recommend to get when it comes to watering your pens, or watering your goats or your animals. This is gonna be a standard thread, which doesn't actually meet up to garden hoses. So I actually have an adapter. So I have a NPT National Pipe Thread 3/4 to a garden hose adapter in here as well. So 3 pieces you'll need to do this exact setup is you'll need the garden hose shutoff valve, you'll need the garden hose to National Pipe Thread adapter, and then one of these hoses. And they come in different lengths, but that was about the right length for me to reach anything I needed to get. So just something else I recommend. It's helped me out a bunch. Now when I go to drain this in the winter to make sure it doesn't freeze, I actually unhook the supply line that goes to the spigot and let it fall before I start reeling it in. The other thing is I have to drag the hose completely out every time to make sure I have a point from my 2x4 up here down to my reel, straight down to the ground, and then all the gravity is forcing the water down on the other side, and then as I crank and that hose comes up and over that 2x4, it keeps the water draining out that side. So since we don't just have goats, and during winter time there is no grass, our horses need to eat too. So part of the winterization, I guess, is also I got to get a round barrel out to the feeder for the horses. So I'm gonna go and do that now. You ever hear the saying, rob from Peter to pay Paul? Well, meet Peter, meet Paul. That is our girls' outdoor shed for when it rains, but we're gonna be locking the boys outside in that area over winter, and it's gonna be getting cold. So today my task is to build a face along that as a wind block with just a small passageway for the ghosts to get in and out so they can huddle up there and keep warm. So let's get started. So the first thing to do before I put the wall on is create a nice set layer of bedding. So I picked up some compressed straw. What I'm gonna do is my first layer. Okay, we're on our last day of projects here. I have a few final things to touch up today, and then I think we're gonna be officially done. One is gonna be repositioning the cameras to where the pin locations are at. Well worth investing in cameras, especially in today's world. If you have internet out at your barn, it's actually worth putting internet out at your barn just to have cameras to check in on them. So I will do a video on that because I have a pretty interesting setup on how I got internet out to my barn, but there's a lot of things out here that have internet that makes my life a lot easier. More to come on that. Another little project I want to do is the temporary pen I built over here. I got some gate latches or gate hinges because I want to actually make that door a little bit more like user friendly, because I guarantee you when the time comes we're going to be in a rush to get into those pins. And dealing with the chains and the simple setup that I have now is just not gonna work. So I'm gonna try and future-proof that a little bit. I have one cool trick I wanna show you with the knife that I have for my hay. It's this cheap little hack that has made me never lose my hay knife again, or make sure I always had a knife. Other than that, I think we're about done. So yeah, I'm gonna dive into this gate first. I'll show you the knives second, and then we'll do the cameras last, and then that'll be it. So this is the other thing I want to show you. This is a dog leash, a retractable dog leash that the end broke off of. I took a box cutter knife, spring loaded, so if it ever falls out of your hand, the blade automatically retracts. Put a big keychain loop on it, and then all I did was just take that keychain loop and put it through the dog leash. And then that allows me to leave this here all the time. And my hay is right here. So when I need to, I just grab it, go to my hay, cut it, and then when I let go, it goes right back to there. So a knife always stays with my hay. I do carry a pocket knife a lot of the times, but I can't count how many times I came out here and just didn't have it in my pocket, and it's very frustrating. So this little solution has kept a knife at my side whenever I needed it for hay forever. Well, that concludes the winterization and kids season prep. So we have pins, we have heat lamps, we have heated buckets, we have cameras, we have bedding, we have everything ready to go. for this winter. And it's a big checklist off my to-dos, because now I can just coast and then wait for the babies to get here, and then the circus all starts back up again. So thanks again for watching. I'm John Maddox with Nerdstead. Again, the homestead that won't ever do anything the traditional way, because, you know, there's tech and it's 2022. So if you like this video and stuck through to the end, please like, subscribe, and, you know, hit that bell for all future videos. Again, I'm John Maddox with Nerdstead. Thanks for watching.